cut from Lawrence of Arabia blowing out the match to the sunrise.
Yes.
That time is completely malleable.
Kind of like a structure in viewer's mind.
Real is good, interesting is better.
For the third time in my life, I sat down with Walter Murch, 3 times Oscar winner, to talk about filmmaking, film editing, but this time mostly about his new book, Suddenly Something Clicked.
If that gets into the film, it's going to poison the film. It's a kind of cyanide. Cinema without editing, is it cinema? First words out of my mouth will be, of course, it is cinema, but
Welcome again.
thank you. Welcome to my house.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Sure.
inviting me. I really appreciate it. The fact that you've opened the door of your house to me means a lot. I did not have any expectations when coming here to you because I thought like,
That's the best.
let's meet and let's just like, have a conversation.
Yeah.
But, the obvious point of conversation for me is your new book, Suddenly Something Clicked.
Ta-da.
And we already talked about the book at Camera Image in 2024.
Four, yeah.
Exactly. Was it?
No,
No, it was
23.
23. It was
Yeah, yeah.
23. Yes.
23.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So-
I'd already, by that time, that was November, right?
Yes.
I had handed the manuscript in September.
Yeah.
So, but for some peculiar reason, it's taken so many months to actually get the book. Because what I handed in was, as it turned out, 3 books.
Yes.
This is the first. This is focusing on post-production, film editing, and sound creation, sound mixing. The middle volume is about production and including the writing. So writing, casting, shooting, those kind of issues. And then the third volume is more kind of the phenomenology of film, I guess. It's philosophical, with some technical things in there and history in there too. But it's more, why are we doing this? What is it about cinema that makes us do it? Have human beings always longed for cinema without knowing that they wanted it?
Yeah.
There are certain things you look at in the history of theater and the history of the theater specifically in the 19th century. It's like it's moving towards a cinematic kind of melodrama. Melodrama just means music theater. So you would have actors on stage and there would be music just like we have for movies. Anyway, that's, ideas like that.
Yeah. So it became a trilogy.
Yeah. And also in that volume is the whole golden ratio thing, which I gave a presentation at Camera.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I read another 2 chapters, I think, right? Because you've sent them to me via email. So I read maybe not full chapters, but I guess like excerpts that you sent to me. But still, like it's I'm just very glad that you wrote it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because like I keep saying, like, in the blink of an eye, which is completely different book, right? Completely different, I guess, with your approach to it.
There's some similarities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, it like the blink of an eye is my favorite filmmaking book, and like the one that also kind of started my filmmaking journey.
Wow.
Because because I graduated as a civil engineer. So like being in London, my go-to place is Millennium Bridge. Because Millennium Bridge, when they opened it, it wasn't resistant to resonating frequencies, and
it bounced.
Yeah, it bounced, and people were walking, and like it was fascinating. So like that's
It's
my
like,
go-to place.
There's that famous picture of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge.
Yes, that one that broke.
Where there's a storm and it goes into resonance, and then everything flies apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great recording for like study purposes, and just like mind blowing that like something that is stable on normal occasion, it just like goes crazy in those process, right?
You could be talking about movies. There's the same unpredictable nature. We build these structures, and you can think of a film as a kind of architecture, and then we expose it to the world, and it gets accepted, or it is immediately put to use, or it gets buffeted by the cultural winds, or it gets misunderstood, or it's understood for the wrong reasons, or there's all those kind of things. And so in a weird way, there is a similarity between certain aspects of civil engineering and film. And many filmmakers, if you dig into their past, they started out as architects and they became filmmakers because they're both big projects that take many years, that involve many different crafts and lots of logistics and artistry. And you can, a well-designed building, in the best sense of that, is a building in which people, first of all, they like to be in that building, and the building is healthy for them. In both psychic and biological reasons. Don't put the bathroom next to the kitchen. Those kind of things. And just, it's the essence of architecture is stability and beauty and health. And, you can kind of take each of those words and transpose it into a cinematic equivalent.
You have to think about your audience when designing a building, right? That's for sure. You have to think about the audience.
And that's, if I had to put my finger on the one thing that is essential is in cinema is what are the audience? What is the audience for this film, and what are they thinking at this very moment, and what are they thinking at this moment, and what do they expect here? And you want to dance around those thoughts and expectations, leading them slightly. You don't want to be too far behind the people, nor do you want to be too far ahead. So it's and yet we insert ourselves into architecture. We're in a house. In a weird way, cinema flips that, and the film is inside our head. It's a structure. If it's a good film, it's a structure inside our head that we refer to as a point of reference. How should I do this? How should I do that? I mean, on a very simple level, a big audience for films are people in their teens and early 20s, and what's dominant in their minds is, how do I talk to a girl, or how do I say no to a boy, or what do I do with my hair, or what's good way to dress, how do I move, and cinema is teaching those kind of things. It's both responding to what people are doing, but it's also saying, you could do this. There's that famous example from, I think, the film It Happened One Night with Clark Gable. And he's in a situation where he has to share a room with a girl, but they're not
a couple.
Not a couple yet. And so they hang a blanket or something in between. There are two beds, they hang a blanket in between, and you see them both getting undressed. And he takes off his shirt, and he has no undershirt on. The shirt, there's bare skin under his shirt. And according to the standards in the early 1930s in the United States, you wouldn't do that. But people were so mesmerized by seeing that, and by seeing that it was Clark Gable, that sales of undershirts went way down as a result, and never really recovered as undershirts. We don't wear undershirts anymore. But now we wear T-shirts, but as just like you know.
Underwear used to mean something different years ago, right?
Yeah.
Right now, underwear
it's like
it's
we
like
still
one
wear
piece of
we still wear underpants,
yes,
but we also used to wear undershirts.
Yeah.
Anyway, that the cinema it's involved in those kind of things as well as whatever else it's involved with.
Yeah. You've mentioned that it's kind of like a structure in viewer's mind, right? A film.
Yeah.
What's interesting in and different about architecture and film is that in case of film, the structure that is being built in the audience mind is different for each person. Like it's it has like it's similar, so to speak, but there are differences. Like this one has a balcony, this one does not, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my phrase for that in the book is mass intimacy. Film is a mass medium. We want millions of people to see the movie, but we want each person to feel that the movie is talking to them in a language that only they understand, about things that only they know. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because if a film is well made, it supplies information, but it doesn't complete the information. It leaves things out, and it has metaphors that are, on the face of it, are a little strange. Like, why should I be thinking that now? Subconsciously. And as a result, we each person completes the pattern, but they complete it out of their own experience. But they're not aware that they're doing it. They think it's coming from the film. In other words, they project the result of that solution. It's kind of that Gestalt closure idea onto the screen. They actually see it, but it's the result of a lot of what's going on inside their head.
Yeah.
And so they think it's coming from the film, but the film is it's supplying pretexts for the construction of the film, which actually happening inside somebody's head. It's that famous line from John Huston where he says, "The real projectors are the eyes and ears of the audience." That gets at that. And I mean, the danger of film is that it's so powerful that it's like King Kong with a butterfly. It loves the butterfly, but it can crush the very thing that it's trying to represent because it doesn't allow for this participation, which is essential.
You've also mentioned when you were talking about that sometimes cinema is misunderstood, or and I'm supposed to meet Simon Smith, the editor of Chernobyl, tonight. And he told me when I first talked to him about Chernobyl, he mentioned that none of them ever thought it would be such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it would reach as much as like wide audience as it did, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a surprise to them. Like they expected like it would be good, and they wanted it to be good, of course, but they never expected how much it would influence society, right?
Yeah.
And thinking about that, that, can you think about films that when they were released were flops, yet like with time they became like kind of iconic?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the opposite of that also very much like Chernobyl. In fact, the opening chapter is a chance meeting I had with George Lucas in 1977. We just found ourselves in New York in June of that year, and Star Wars had just come out, and he was like your friends, I was making a film for kids, and yet suddenly there was this incredible blossoming of the film, and he and his wife, Marcia, at the time, were trying to cope with that. What does this mean? So I mean, my film Return to Oz is a little bit like that. It was definitely problematical when it was released, It got many kind of bad or like quizzical reviews. Why would you make this film? Because it's a sequel to The Wizard of Oz, which is 1939, and it's based on books by the same author that were sequential to his book, The Wizard of Oz. So it is a follow-on, and yet it's not a musical, which Wizard of Oz was a musical. It's got a real 9-year-old as Dorothy, not a 15-year-old ambiguous how old she's supposed to be. And it's not vaudevillian in the sense that, in addition to the fact that there are songs, you have the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow are human beings in costume. You see a human face there. And this film doesn't have that. It's the bad people have a human face, the Gnome King and the witch, Mombi. But all of Dorothy's friends, the creatures, they look the way they looked in the illustrations for the book. It's a scarecrow. I mean, the Jack Pumpkinhead is a person made out of sticks with a big pumpkin carved with a face. And the robot TikTok is exactly the way he looks in the original illustrations. There's not a human face there. It's a mechanical version of a human face. And there's a chicken, and there's a flying sofa with a moose's head on the front of it. So and it's darker. Dorothy finds herself going back to Oz. She discovers, oh, here I am, after the aftermath of a storm, not a tornado, but a thunderstorm, a flood. And she discovers that everything has kind of gone wrong, that Oz is not the same as it was when she left, that there's trouble. And so she sets out to find her friends and then find out what went wrong, and then ultimately how can this be fixed. So it's it has a long afterlife. We just had a screening of it at the BFI, the British Film Institute theaters a couple of weeks ago, and it was a packed audience for it. And it's got a big afterlife on, downloadable stuff. There's a Blu-ray out of it, and many people like it. So it staged a comeback.
That's good.
There are a couple of chapters on that whole question in the second book. Not this one, but the next one. On how did it get made? Why was it made? And then what were the problems during the making of it, and then the afterlife of it?
Each film has quite a long story behind it, right? So I'm sure you had to condense it as much as possible anyway. By the way, how did you go about directing a child, 9-year-old? Because I guess it must be challenging, right?
No, it was fantastic.
Okay.
I mean, Rosa Balk was fantastic. Sort of halfway through, I realized she's not a child. She's a grown-up from the land of children. Because
it's so good.
She could do things just like that. And I wonder, where does that come from? And I've worked with and edited actors who have had years, decades of experience, and I haven't seen them do that. We would shoot something 2 weeks later. We would do a pickup shot 2 weeks after an original, and I would say, Rosa, we're going to do another shot from that scene where you meet TikTok, and I said, "Oh yeah, I remember." And she you remembered exactly what her eye lines were, and completely inhabited the 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 emotional space that she was in 2 weeks earlier after many other things. So there were lots and lots of things, and I got some sense of that when I was casting. Um, and when we made the final decision to say, okay, I'd looked at 1,050 girls, and Ruza was selected.
Yes.
So I'd already gotten a sense of that, but you never know once you start shooting a film, the pressures of doing that, and just the schedule.
Yeah, people around everywhere.
And, she was also very articulate about that. She says, I know that I'm acting with, and there are lots of people around, but when I'm acting, I don't see them. So she is not looking at the crew, like, what are they thinking? She was able to completely erase that.
Unbelievable.
And we had, Firuza means turquoise in Persian. And we had a kind of a shorthand using metal and jewels okay, this is a turquoise scene, this is a gold scene, this is a steel scene, and just the mention of those words would get her to a place. And this is something that she and Mike Kitchens, her acting coach, had developed, and it was a fantastic handle to allow the actor to center herself in emotionally what each scene was about.
But was she like a child actor in general, or was it her first acting gig?
This was the first. She'd
so
been
she
in
she was like natural, basically.
Yeah, she'd been in a couple of commercials, and I think she was an actor in a Canadian TV program. I'm getting some of the facts wrong here, but very limited. But she told her mother, "I want to be an actress," and the mother said, "Okay," and almost to show her how difficult it was, the mother said,
I mean, most mothers, I think, would be thrilled. I don't know. That's my impression. But I asked an actor that was in my film. He has a daughter, and he has a daughter, and I asked him, like, "Do you want her to be actress?" And he said, like, "Hell no, hell no."
No. I mean, Catherine, Ruza's mother. When Ruza said that, Catherine said, I'm projecting into her thought process, but okay, that's you don't know what acting is really like. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go down this path with you, and you will, and a certain kind of girl would say, okay, I don't want to do this. I see now, but Ruza didn't.
Much work,
She kept going.
I mean, it kind of reminds me, because we don't know what something actually is until we just do it, right? And I guess, like, with directing, like, as well, right? You have a sense of what directing is based on, I don't know, like, interviews that you watch, like, or like behind the scenes coverage or stuff like that. But you don't know what it actually means to direct, right? Until you do it.
Right.
So I don't know, it's just like this.
There's a chapter, again, not in this book, but about that process, that on the day, I mean, you've rehearsed things, you've worked with the production designer and the actors and the cinematographer and the costumers, and but now, okay, this is it. We're on the set, and and that moment, the first moment of that on a particular set, acting in a particular scene, especially with something like Return to Oz, which is there's not just actors, you're dealing with, each character has 3 or 4 puppeteers involved with it, and you have to deal with them. They were wonderful, but you also had to figure out, how am I going to hide the puppeteers? So it was carefully storyboarded, but still, here we are. And the analogy I make is that you open the door to the set, and it's as if there are some stagehands dressed in clown costumes who say, "Surprise!" and they throw basketfuls of colored ping pong balls at you. And there are 5 different colors. One of the colors is, say, blue, and yeah, that's exactly the way I thought it would be. It was even unconsciously, but now that I see it, yeah, that's perfect. The next color, which is yellow, is, that's different. That's going to be different than I thought, but it's okay. I thought his shirt would be green, and somehow it's blue. Do I take the time to change it? No. Green is okay.
Yes.
But if I had all the time in the world, would I change it?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe, but I don't. So green is okay. Then there are things that are gold, which are not only different, but better than you thought. Ooh, this is great.
Like a performance that surprised you, for example.
Or just anything, anything. The way the costume works with the lighting and the background, and what the actor is doing with it. And,
a bird flying by that wasn't planned for, and stuff like that.
And now a large part of your brain is saying, it's so good that I have to change my plans because I want to take advantage of it. I didn't know it was going to be this good, so now I have to I can't let this delicious dish go uneaten. And then there are things that are not so good and changeable. Okay, we will take some time to change that. Let's
adjust it.
And then there are things that are, I don't know what kind of color. They're not only bad, but if that gets into the film, it's going to poison the film. It's a kind of cyanide. And so you absolutely have to change that. And the weird thing about those things, whatever color they are, is that frequently a lot of people around you say, "That's really good." And there's a part of you that, because of the schedule, would really like it to be good. But somewhere
internally,
deep down, no, I can't explain why, but we have to change that. And so this bunch of ping pong balls are coming at you, and you very have to quickly put them all in the correct basket. Exactly the way, different, but okay. Really good, different, but we have to fix it, and then poison. That doesn't happen so often, but you have to, it's the snake in the garden. And you have to be very careful around those things, because that will put you in a position with the crew and with the management. I thought that was really good, and he spent all that time changing it. I don't understand, what's going on here. So they begin to question you, but you have to, if it's really important, you have to stick to it. And do it. So you wind up sorting these ping pong balls into the right color, and then dealing with each of them on within the time that you have. But you wind up doing most with making the best use of the really surprisingly good things that you have, and getting rid of or neutralizing somehow the cyanide things, the things that just are going to cause an audience to misinterpret something. And the other ones you just try to deal with as best you can and in the time that you have.
I love this analogy. And thinking about the colors, I think that the last one is like a color in disguise. So you don't really know which color it is. It is based on those like voices that you hear next to you, right? So you think it's black, this bad color, right? But people keep saying it's green. Come on, it's green. Like
yeah, exactly. I mean, that relates to another idea, which there's a chapter called The Octopus, which is that's a way of thinking of the whole filmmaking apparatus. Because what we've discovered biologically in the last, I don't know, couple of decades maybe, is that the neurology of the octopus is distributed.
Yes.
There's a central brain in the head, but then each arm has its own brain.
Yeah.
And collectively, the intelligence of the octopus is, they say, pretty close to that of a dog.
Yeah.
But I forget the math here, but 3 of the arms collectively are smarter than the head. All of the arms are smarter, but individually, each arm is less, not as smart as the head. And if you think of each of the arm as a department, the cinematography, the production design, the costume, the acting, the editing, the sound, in fact, when the octopus is just doing its thing, the head just says, arms, do your stuff, explore. And the analogy is that the head is the director, writer, producer, or whatever, and the arms are the
partners.
Yeah, and they are smarter than you are. They know things that you don't know, and you don't want to tell them what to do all the time because that would limit the dimension of the film. So you allow them to explore through their life experience and knowledge. The production designer reads the screenplay and says, oh, I could do this and this and this. And, amazing things. What did the prop department come up with? That's fantastic. I never would have thought of that. So you want to make a film that's smarter than you are. And that comes through this collective interaction, just like the octopus. On the other hand, the octopus has eyes, which the arms don't have. The arms are actually sensitive to light. They know when the shadow or light, but they can't optically see anything. But the octopus has these amazing eyes. And similarly, the director has eyes of intelligence that the crew members don't have. And that's getting back to the ping pong stuff. And it knows when there's danger and it knows when there's food. And it can then say, okay, run from danger or go to food, and will cause the arms to all move together toward that goal. On the other hand, there is a ring around the neck of the octopus where the arms can talk to each other without bothering the head. And that happens a lot in filmmaking, where the camera department, the makeup department will say to the camera, could you soften the light a little bit because we're having a problem with bags under the eyes and we just need, okay, don't bother the director. And so there's this chat going on. Anyway, that's the, film is the collaboration of, it's a collaboration on a huge level, and you want to take advantage of it as much as you can.
Such a great analogy. Another one. I didn't know about that next thing that lets the arms talk to each other, supposedly. It's amazing. Octopuses are really like the closest to aliens we've got here, right? Amazing. I had this on a set, on my set. I had this once that I found out recently, that like cinematographer and my actor, they kind of like made the deal because like my cinematographer wanted another take.
Yeah.
But he already asked me for another take earlier.
Yeah.
And he knew, I said to him, like, listen, this is going to be the last one no matter what, because we have to move on, right?
Yeah.
And my first AD was like on me already. So I was like, already doing kind of like and when I came in, because like it was a take I had to leave because the camera was pointing all around, right? When I came in, my actor, right, raised his hand and said like, Peter, one more, please. And I couldn't say no to him because like the shot was so much on him. But it turned out later, they told me that actually it was cinematographer who asked for that take. He said to the actor, ask him for one more from me, please. So they collaborated together to get another one, right? And luckily they did. Like, I think it's great that they did. But like, it
was a horrible story, and I think it was Howard Hawks, the director, and I don't know who the actor was. Maybe Humphrey Bogart. Cancel the information is perhaps not accurate, but the actor said, "I think I can do one more. I've got an idea," and the director said, "Yeah, okay. Let's." I think we have to reload the magazine. This is in film days, but
sure.
Yeah. And so they reloaded. Okay, take 5 or something. And the director said, what do you think? Yeah, it was good, but I think, I want to put a little more emphasis on the, okay, take 6, take 7, take 8. All right, okay, take 8. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's a good one. Good. And the director went over to the camera and opened up the magazine and snapped off,
exposed it,
the undeveloped film, and said, "You like it so much, you can have it." And of course, ruining those extra takes. And it was a way of the director as, I am in control. Yeah, I don't take any, and he did it not only for the actor but for the whole crew. And
okay. I don't like the approach, but I get the story.
Yeah, there was actually a similar thing with on Julia, the Fred Zinnemann film. I was actually it was one of the few times it was actually on set. They were shooting the train scene, and it was in a real train, the car, 1930s, that they had brought into the studio in Paris, and as a result, the walls were made out of metal. You couldn't make things bigger.
Yeah.
So everyone was tight, and so the camera operator, Chick Watterson, couldn't use the normal geared head.
Yes.
So he was using just a pan head. And he wasn't, it was, he'd done it before, but that wasn't his intuitive thing. Anyway, Jane Fonda had to take the hat box and put it up on the shelf. And they did take 1, they did take 2, and they did take 3. And take 3, the action was good. And Fred was looking at the action. He said, "Okay, good, print, let's move on to the next." And Chick said, "Well, Mr. Z," which is what he was called, and he held out the handle to the pan, and it had come off. It wasn't properly screwed in. It had come off during that shot. So rather than him saying anything, he just grabbed hold of the camera and jerked it into position.
Yeah.
So the whole middle of the shot was ruined. And he said, "I think we have to do it again because," and Fred looked at him and said, "Cut, print, move on to the next setup." In other words, if that, I'd worked with Francis. If that had happened with Francis, he would have said, "Okay, let's do it again."
Yes.
And Fred was, again, this I'm in control, and I want to teach you a lesson, which is that I'm willing to damage the film or potentially damage the film so that you will be always prepared and this won't happen again. We're not going to accept that kind of lack of oversight.
Extreme.
And it was, for me, it was chilling. And Chick, the operator, looked at me and said, "It's up to you now.
You're
going to have to solve this." Because the other two takes were not as good as the third ruined take. So in the end, it worked out okay. I didn't have to use that pan. But anyway, that's an element, what is that octopus relationship between the arms and the head? And certain directors are. This is my, Stanley Kubrick is that kind of a director. This is my vision. There's a great line from...
Still a brilliant one, right? Of course, but a different one. That's also,
trying to remember the name of the soldier in the Vietnam film he made. Anyway, they did a number of takes, and the actor said, "Oh, I like that one. That felt real." And Kubrick said, "Real is good. Interesting is better." Meaning I'm after a kind of super reality, beyond just reality. And so they continued to do God knows how many takes. He was famous for doing 50, 60, 80 takes sometimes.
Yes.
Which, it's interesting. I'm giving a talk at the Cinémathèque in Paris in June. And the premise, which is deliberately provocative, is cinema without editing. Is it cinema? In other words, films like 1917 or Birdman or the series Adolescence, where you start and for 2 hours or an hour, it's just, there is no cut. And the first words out of my mouth will be, of course, it is cinema, but what are we trying to achieve? And what are we losing? Are we losing anything? In the early days of film, of course, we didn't even know that editing was possible. And so that began to be discovered around 1901, 1902, continuity editing. And that made cinema possible.
Suddenly something clicked.
And both possible technically, in that, that means we can think of film as a mosaic, and we can shoot all the red tiles here, the blue tiles here, and that'll speed up the whole process. We don't have to shoot in continuity. Kubrick sometimes did shoot in continuity. He wanted all the sets available at all the times, so we could go back.
Expensive, but potentially better, right?
And but anyway, the industrial part of film said this is great because it simplifies everything. We shoot all the exteriors here, and we shoot the interiors here, and then we shoot the stuff with that difficult actor here because his schedule, And but it also meant that you provoke the audience into these, what we were talking about before, these collisions of ideas. And what you lose forever in continuous cinema is the cut from Lawrence of Arabia blowing out the match to the sunrise. That sudden leap from one reality to another, both in time and space. And that's absolutely in the DNA of cinema. This is above almost everything, a medium in which time is completely malleable. We can cut it, we can stretch it, we can compress it on all kinds of both practical and psychological levels. And it's in it. This continuous shot idea is enabled, obviously, by digital cinema. It was not possible.
Yeah, when you had like 12 minutes of film.
I mean, Hitchcock did that in Rope, but it was
behind the back.
Right,
like
the camera moves into the actor's
yes.
back, and then so it's great. I imagine, and I'm sure it is. It's continuous cinema. Is great for the actors because they are in control in a way that they're not in shooting mosaic cinema.
Definitely.
Kirk Douglas, who loved theater, wanted to be a Broadway actor, but failed for whatever reason, I don't know. But he wound up in Hollywood, and he found out that the camera loved his face and his physique. So he became, a movie star, basically. But he hated acting in movies because he said acting in movies is like dancing in wet cement. You can, on the same day, you can be shooting the beginning of the film and the end of the film, and you haven't shot the middle yet. So how do I know that what I did for the end of the film
makes sense emotionally?
I kind of remember what I did that day. So do I have to take that into consideration when we shoot the middle? You kind of go crazy. And the actors become completely dependent in that sense on the director, who is supposedly got everything in control. Whereas in continuous cinema, the actors decide. And so good,
Although, like in continuous cinema, still, I mean, you've got this prep period, right? Where everything, like directing wise, everything has to be decided on in the pre-production, pretty much, right? And in the writing as well, because there is this element of editing in writing as well, right?
Absolutely.
And like 1917, I don't think they ever disclosed how many cuts are there. But like it's faked continuity, of course, right? Because like it's a lot of sets, a lot of days, and they faked it, of course, right? In a very, very well. I mean, they did it exceptionally well.
That's true of Birdman. It's
true
exactly. Of Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón's film.
Exactly. The Adolescence is a little bit different because Adolescence, every episode is really one take. But actually, when you think about it, Adolescence has 3 cuts in it, right? Because as you said, like this, if you're choosing to shoot continuity, like like master shot cinema, basically, then you're deciding to live in this space and time for this limited time over runtime of the film. But in Adolescence, you actually have 3 cuts because you have 3 places, 3 times. So I don't know if you've seen the series. Have you seen it? You have. So
there are 4 series,
4 episodes. 3 cuts. 3 cuts, right? There are 3 cuts in it, and like this story wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be an entire story. So it's like 3 cuts in film, right? The film that I've seen that has no cuts and it's a feature film is titled Victoria.
I was going to mention Victoria is also. I've heard that it is really one.
It is, and what's interesting is that Adolescence, they made 10 takes for each episode.
Right. And so then they selected one.
Yeah, and they selected one. And I think they selected the last one in every one of those. Wow. I think. Or at least for 3 of those, for sure. I'm not sure about one of those. Anyway, in Victoria, what's interesting is that they only had 2 takes. And the second one is what we see in the film, right? Yeah. Anyway, it's admirable, the amount of but you don't have this.
We filmmakers have to quiet down. Part of our reaction to that is we know how difficult it is. And so it's like when we watch Adolescence or any of these films, it's like watching a tightrope walker in the circus.
Yes.
How did they do that? Oh, look out, and yet, as cinema, the audience mostly is not concerned with that. They're concerned with the characters and the situations, not how did they wait a minute, that camera was on the front of the car and now it's on a drone up in how did they do that? And now how did they get the camera now to go into the school from the drone? Those
Yes.
kind of questions.
Yes.
The curious thing, when each episode is an hour long, that's another question. How did they make it come in at the right length? But my feeling at the end of each of the episodes was that it was longer, not in any bad sense, but this feels like a 90-minute or 100-minute movie, but it's only 60 minutes. And I was talking to Aggie about that and thinking, what's going on? Why is that? Is that a factor, and why is it? And I think it has to do with the fact that there are just no cuts in it, that each cut, and sometimes especially certain that and that cut, are like breaths of where that's literally the cut in Lawrence of Arabia is a breath.
Yeah.
Here we go on something else.
That's right.
And the fact that in Children of Men, the ambush scene is you're all in the car, and only at the end of the scene, after the policemen are killed and the car has driven off, do you as the audience go. One of the emotions that I think Cuarón is after is that holding a breath. And
tension.
When you do that, everything seems longer because you're aware unconsciously of that suspension. And it gets at another peculiarity, which is talked about in the book, which is that on average, people take 12 breaths a minute, 12 to 15. On average, they blink 12 to 15 times per minute. And on average, that's the number of cuts in films, 12 to 15 per minute.
5 seconds per shot.
Yeah, 4 to 5 seconds.
4 to 5 seconds.
And it's right from the Birth of a Nation. Every cut, if you average it all out, it's every 5 seconds. And certain films are faster, and certain films. But that's our experience of breathing. When we're in a fight, or when we're really exerting ourselves, we're going. Cut. And you can think of each shot. The length of each shot is a breath, and the moment of the cut is a blink. And so there are these biological underpinnings going on, and that's one of the sub themes of the book. Not only this one, but the other ones as well, as this pairing of cinematic techniques and things that we do creatively that have analogs, biological analogs.
Because I find it very interesting that, that aspect, that it makes it feel like it's longer than it really is. And I talked to an editor of Past Lives, also Oscar-nominated film from 2 years ago. The film also holds quite long on shots. But he told me that when in the earlier cuts, when they had the pace of the cuts much denser, there were many more cuts, cutting back and forth, basically, right? The film was dreadfully long. It felt dreadfully long. And it was only after they slowed down the cuts that the rhythm was right. But I think it also just depends on, the type of a scene. And, every scene has its internal pace that is inherent to it. And I think if you're cut too fast in a scene which inherent, internal pace is slower, then it feels longer. It feels off. So, it's again, it goes back to that aspect that you talked many times about, of feeling the time, right, and standing, and being able to express time throughout your body in a way, right?
Tarkovsky talked about that. He had to deal with the executives at Mosfilm, and they said, it needs to be quicker. And he came out of the meeting and said, we're going to make it slower, even slower, because for exactly that reason. And we encountered almost exactly that with the conversation, where the beginning was what it was in terms of pacing, and we had screenings for small groups of people, and at the end, some of them said, "Well, it's a little slow," and we thought, "Well, okay, what if we sped it up?" And so we tried speeding up the first 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and it was absolutely clear, no, we have to go back to the more deliberate pace, because what that sped up version did was deliver the audience to a place in the 31st minute that was not suitable. You have to get the audience used to what the metronome of the film is, and kind of give them the resources to understand the film. I mean, conductors with symphony orchestras go through the same thing. What is given this orchestra, this audience, this piece of music, what's the metronomic rate that is good for all of them?
Yeah. Wonderful. I could talk to you for ages. Seriously, I love talking to you.
All right, me too. Oh, very good. Very good.
When the next part comes out, the second and the third part?
We will discover. I'd wanted to say suddenly something clicked, volume 1.
Yes.
But Faber said no.
Okay.
I guess they're nervous. But
they shouldn't be.
We'll see.
They shouldn't be. Great. We'll wait. We'll be patient.
Okay.
We'll be patient. But it's already in their hands, and they're doing their work, right?
No, I've written it.
Yeah, but you've written all of it.
Yeah. It's all written. They have it.
Okay.
But it hasn't been copy edited. The images haven't been secured.
So months away. That's for sure. Months away. But it's still quite long enough to keep us busy until the time.
All right.
Thank you so much, Walter.